Hello guys, I'm mrlink2k. I'm gonna be running Undertale neutral today. Has some pretty cool glitches, and yeah, without further ado, let's just do it with no hesitation. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this first section of the run is called runes. Basically, this entire part is just kind of mashing. You just kind of hit ZX, enter, and shift in kind of a cycle, and try to mash as fast as possible. Basically, in runes, there's just a bunch of bits of RNG and mashing, just doing puzzles, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty soon here we're gonna meet up Toriel. Gonna try to take us to her home, and we're just gonna kind of follow behind while mashing whenever we need to. Here you'll notice Frisk is kind of walking weird across the wall. If you hold up and down while you're on a wall, you'll get that weird walking. We're gonna flee from this frogget here. And then just watch a cutscene. So, pretty much after these cutscenes and walking down a long hallway, we're gonna be introduced to some RNG, some encounter RNG. Basically, in every room there's a chance you'll get an encounter. Every encounter wastes about 3 seconds. So there are 2 scripted encounters you could get that you'll always get in this RNG section, but the rest you always have like a chance to get it. So yeah, what we're gonna hope for is a 0 encounter, but we'll see. That's a pretty low chance to get perfect RNG in runes. So for a marathon run, that's very unlikely. We're gonna talk to this sign here. There's normally a text box there that Toriel calls you with. By talking to that rock, for some reason, you don't get it. So that saved just a few frames. Anyway, we killed that Whims in there. That loses a little bit of time in runes, but in Snowden, we'll save that time back and then some. That was a scripted encounter. Both those were scripted, by the way. But anyway, we will save Whims and kill saves 0.8 seconds. You lose 3 in runes due to killing animation being slower, but you save 3.8 in Snowden due to a Flowey cutscene, which is slightly faster. Anyway, this is Napstabluke. We're just gonna cheer him 4 times. If we miss menu on this last turn here, we lose so much time, so I'm gonna take this incredibly safe. And that's Napstabluke. Now we're going up to the second half of runes. 0 encounters so far. I'm gonna go down here and hit this switch. I don't think you could get an encounter in that room, actually, this one. Anyway, 2 more rooms of encounter RNG left to go. So, the most we could get right now is a 1 encounter. I got a 0 encounter. Okay, that's pretty interesting. A 0 encounter for a marathon is really good. Especially with Whims and Kill. Anyway, we're now in Toriel's house. Just gonna follow her into this room. She introduces us to our room here, but we don't need to go into it. We just follow her back out, and then we're gonna talk to her. Anyway, coming out now, we have the Toriel fight. Toriel fight is even more RNG. Toriel has a 39% chance to give a hand attack, and each hand attack will allow you to basically skip that turn if you run into it. The most hands you could get is 9, so average is probably about a 5-hand, I believe. So yeah, if we get a 5-hand or better, I'd be pretty happy with that. Okay, that's 2 non-hand attacks. 3. There's a hand. It's 4. 5. 6. So we've guaranteed a 5-hand at least here. Oh, okay, 6-hand. This is actually a pretty good runes. Once you're at 3 HP, you could just take damage on any attack, and it'll skip it. So, if we don't get enough hands, we purposely take damage, so we can cancel it on that last attack there. But there's no need for that. There's a setup for getting more than 6 hands, but without any setups or anything, that's the most you could get. So not bad at all. Just gonna mash through this now before we make our way to Snowdin. And that's runes. Now we have Snowdin, which is less RNG than runes was. Still a bit of RNG, but good Snowdin times normally depend on good mashing and good movement. So we're gonna hope we could get, you know, just good mashing, good movement. Hopefully some good RNG as well. Anyway, this is where Whims and Kill comes into play. As you can see, Flowey just kind of does a laugh here. Normally without Whims and Kill, he'd get like a huge grin on his face before doing that laugh. So yeah, that's where we save 0.8 seconds overall. Pretty small time save, but you know, it's good to get all the time save you possibly can. We're gonna go slightly high here, like right on this pixel. The reason for this, I believe like scroll speed. I believe it's because of scrolling. It makes it slightly faster here by maybe a frame or 2. I believe it saves exactly a frame. So yeah, a lot of really small things in this run. Anyway, here's Sans. We're just gonna talk to him. Just mash through all this. And we're also gonna meet Papyrus here as well. Okay, now coming up, since we took all that damage on Toriel for hands, there's going to be a save point here. We're going to take this save. And we are going to grab this weapon out of the box and equip it after this cutscene. We use the Tough Glove for 1 enemy in the entire game. That's all it is used for. And also to get the stick. But anyway, we equip the Tough Glove here, and we're gonna flee from this encounter. So, what the stick does, which was our weapon before the tough glove, we could just throw it to all these dogs and instantly be able to spare them after the turn, which saves time over just doing the fight normally. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing there. Some more mashing. And have to do Papyrus's insanely hard puzzles. Anyway, yeah. After this, just some more walking, more mashing. In Snowden, later on, in like 2 minutes, there's gonna be the first glitch in the run. Anyway, yeah, just gonna make our way through here. There is a switch underneath this snow here. Normally you'd have to do a puzzle to figure that out, but since I know that already, you could just go straight there. Anyway, now we have the dog marriage fight. Again, we're just gonna throw the stick and then spare them on the next turn. This dog can give 2 attacks, however. One is better than the other. I got the bad attack. It only loses about a second over the other attack, but it's just slightly faster. Just gonna do this puzzle by turning the X's into O's. And then again, we could just skip this puzzle by hitting a switch in this tree. After this, we have some mashing to do, but we have to be careful with our mashing, because if we're not, we could lose upwards to 20 seconds, because we skip a cutscene if we do the choices. Okay, there we go. What we have to do when Papyrus asks us if we understand, we have to say no to that both times. And if we do that, it skips a cutscene of the tiles changing colors and everything. Anyway, this is Ice Puzzle Skip, which is pixel perfect. The pixel is right there, and then you have to hit down and right on the same frame, and it worked. Not bad. Anyway, this is, again, has 2 different attacks. This one's a bit more important. This dog has an attack similar to Toriel's hand. If you run into it, it'll end the attack right away. Unfortunately, we didn't get that attack. That loses about 3 seconds. Like I said, overall, not the worst Snowden I've ever seen. Not the best RNG, but it's okay. Not a terrible Snowden by any means. Overall, not the worst Snowden I've ever seen. Not the best RNG, but it's okay. Not a terrible Snowden by any means. This is an interesting fight in the sense of it's faster to die on Papyrus 3 times instead of doing the fight normally. It actually saves an incredible amount of time. Here we are going to use the stick on Papyrus. If you spare Papyrus here, it's going to go into Papyrus's blue attack, which is slow. So we're just going to run into these bones. On the next 2 phases, so we're just gonna spare because it'll instantly put us in the blue attack anyway. Not much to talk about here in this part of the run, just kind of keep going here to do the papyrus fight. Again, we're gonna spare here. So the next section in the run, Waterfall, gets a lot more interesting, I do have to say. Waterfall is where you get the punch card. And the punch card is broken in this game. You could do so many glitches with it. You could do wrong warps. You could skip boss fights. So it makes the run very, very interesting. The first 20 minutes of the run are nowhere near as fun as the other 2/3 of the run, which is why this game is fun, because of all the punch card stuff. But yeah, anyway, this is our last papyrus phase. Anyway, that was the last phase. Now I just have to make sure that I don't say yes to fighting Papyrus a 4th time. If I do, then we're gonna have to do yet another phase of Papyrus, which is unoptimal. Okay, that was... I took that very safe, but it's fine, we said no to Papyrus. And now the interesting stuff of the run could happen. The first trick that we're gonna do is called Seagrass Skip, or SGS. It's a relatively new trick that we found. It saves about 30 seconds. I'll explain it after I do it. First, we need to go 2 pixels up here, though, to set up for it. Okay, there's Seagrass Skip. Basically, if you go on the pixel of where that cutscene starts, you have a 4-frame window to open up the cell phone. If you do that, then you could clear the text during the cutscene and just walk right past the cutscene. And now I get to hear this song for a little bit. It's an actually good song too, so it's pretty nice to be able to listen to it for a bit. And now pretty much all the RNG stuff is done as well. There's like slight RNG and stuff, but you don't have to worry about it too much. Anyway, we're going into Spears 1 now. What this does, basically you just have to kind of escape from Undyne here, who is this lady, and avoid her spears. And we're gonna try to take the best line possible here. As you can see, the spears can kind of like pass through me a bit. That's because hitboxes in this game are kind of not good. But anyway, yeah, that's Spears 1. Just have a few cutscenes to get through now, and then we will make it to Punch Card. I'm gonna take a safety save here because you could soft lock pretty much everywhere with the punch card, which makes running this game at a marathon pretty scary. But anyway, we picked up the punch card. Now we're gonna put all our items in this box. Oops. Except the punch card. We're gonna hit Enter and Z a frame apart from each other there on that box. And we're gonna store text. And with that text stored, we can wrong warp with it into the next rooms. Here we could just spare this. It's always a mold small. Here's onion sense. Yeah, there's not really a good visual cue for this. I got that surprisingly fast though. And then I'm gonna wrong warp into this room with the punch card. That, those wrong warps with the punch card like this are scary because if you don't mash the punch card so it's closing during the transition, you'll soft lock. So you need to make sure you're doing that perfectly. This is Monster Kid. He's gonna follow us for a little bit. And then here you could... It's good to note that most of these punch cards are frame perfect. That one is not even close to frame perfect though. You have tons of time for that one. And then here, we're gonna try to do the same thing we did with the box earlier, which is known as an overflow. So every time I do that, I'm gonna call it an overflow. I don't need to safety save here, but I'm gonna do it just in case. And here's spears to skip. I don't know if I'm gonna get this or not, but we'll see. I'll try my best. I think I got it framed perfectly, and I did get it framed perfectly. That's kind of incredible. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, yeah. That's pretty much all of this Mad Dummy split. Other than the Mad Dummy fight alone. Although I said we could skip most bosses, we can't skip Mad Dummy because there's an invisible wall blocking us from punch carding the trigger, which is unfortunate. The thing that makes it even worse is if we could clip into the wall by 1 pixel, we'd be able to skip the fight. And we know that we're able to clip into a wall by 1 pixel, but there's garbage in the way. So, unfortunately, that method does not work for skipping Mad Dummy. So we're stuck with doing the fight for now. Anyway, the Mad Dummy fight, an optimal fight is 5 cycles. It has a little bit of RNG involved, but not too much. Donate, huh? That's a nice name. It is certainly a nice name. Donate to Speed Stuff for charity. You could do a wrong warp into that room, but that's a downwards wrong warp, which is kind of weird. That wrong warp doesn't save much, though. It only saves maybe 2 seconds. Anyway, yeah. This is the Mad Dummy fight. So, Mad Dummy shoots these balls here. And we need to hit them into Mad Dummy. Mad Dummy has a certain amount of HP, which you can't see, but it does have a certain amount of HP. You wouldn't want it to be under 195 after the 5th turn. That's known as a 5 cycle. So you're just gonna try to get as many hits as possible. And that should be completely fine. That should be a 5 cycle. Yeah, okay, that's a 5 cycle. You have actually a good amount of leeway there, so it's not too hard. Definitely easy to mess up though. Anyway, now we have these missile attacks. It doesn't matter if we hit Mad Dummy with them anymore. It'll end on the same attack no matter what, so we're just gonna try to avoid them. At least until the end. And I'll do a funny sound. Normally we do a funny sound to make our HP low enough for a certain trick later. But because this is a marathon run, I don't feel very comfortable with doing that trick. So I'm just gonna take a safety save right after this fight, because there is a save point right after this. Anyway, that's Mad Dummy. Now we have the rest of Waterfall, which is basically the Undyne fight. We have some tricks in the meantime too, such as Flower Flow and Monster Kid Bridge Skip, which we'll get to. But there's a big trick known as Undyne. It's pretty difficult. There's been a new setup found that makes it a bunch easier though. Safety save. Normally you wrong warp into that room and do some weird cool stuff, but I don't want to end up having to go all the way back because of a soft lock. Anyway, this is basically just a maze. You just have to memorize the path. And then after this, we have some cool tricks. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. All encounters from now are scripted. So it's not RNG if I get encounters anymore. Anyway, this is Flower Flow. What we're gonna do is overflow the flower and then close the text wall, keeping the punch card open. Now we can move over here and then hit the cell phone, match away Undyne's text here, open the cell phone quickly again, and that's Flower Flow. That saves about 5 seconds. And it'll set up for another trick right after the cutscene. So the screen scrolls, we can move now. Info the punch card. Now we get text storage with that, and we can wrong warp into this room with that. That was frame perfect. And that was Monster Kid Bridge Skip. Now we have Undyne coming up. You have to punch card 2 pixels, that's 1. That's 2. And then you have to do some weird stuff there to wrong warp into that room, which skips a cutscene and also skips tons of cycles of the fight. It's a difficult trick, but we got it. That saves about 20 seconds over a safe 1 cycle, which is basically Undyne, but you have to watch a cutscene. Undyne skips the cutscene. Anyway, we're gonna challenge Undyne for these first turns here. What that does is makes her attacks go faster. Gonna get a phone call from Papyrus here. Just smash it away. And now we're into Hotland. first we need to do a punch card right in the middle of that square. Also save, just to be safe. And that was Waterfall. Now we have Hotland, the most fast-paced part of the run. You don't go for a while in Hotland without doing punch card stuff. Let's just say that. You basically wrong warp into every room, do tons of punch cards, do tons of skips. It's very fun. Anyway, that's the one use for the Tough Glove. Killing that Vulcan, so our level will increase. Now we're gonna punch card out of bounds, just like that. So we could get to this room over here, so we could get the Burnt Pan, which is a significantly better weapon than Tough Glove. But it's very hard to use. I'll explain later in New Home when we get closer to Asgore, where the pan will come into use. I was about to do this trick where, this is where you normally do a trick that requires you to be at 5 HP. Again, I don't want to do that. It does save a lot of time, but it basically just allows you to skip those lasers that I had to dodge, and also sets up for another trick later. So it does save a ton of time, but I'm just gonna be safe. Anyway, this is jetpack skip. What we're gonna do, overflow, then open the punch card again, which will allow us to just kind of skip over this really long cutscene. However, skipping this cutscene comes at a cost. We lose our menu from that. I'm hitting control right now. Our menu's not opening. So what we have to do is go back to first floor and all the way back to the bridge so we could get our menu back. This is still significantly faster than watching the cutscene though. And then these are called menu recovery warps. You just kind of wrong warp back to the elevator and then go back to the floor you're supposed to go on. If you go down here, normally there's text you have to mash through, but if you go down here, you don't have to worry about those text boxes, so it saves a little bit of time. You might want to turn down your volume. That's a trick. It's interesting. Anyway, we're just gonna skip that puzzle before wrong warping into here and then saving, because I'm infamously known for missing this skip tons and tons of time, but I actually got it, which is good. And now we have to do a blind thing here. Normally, if you do the low HP setup, which is called Beowulf skip, there's a visual cue for that, but since we didn't do Beowulf skip, we just kind of have to do a blind punch card there after taking 6 steps. Again, we lost our menu because of that. So now we're going to go back to the bridge and do the menu recovery warps yet again. We have to go back here 3 times. Anyway, do our menu recovery warps here. And now we could go to left floor 3. In left floor 3, there's a trick called north-south. The north-south is really weird. It looks really easy, but it's really not easy at all. I actually got them both first try. You have to close the punch card the first frame you possibly can there. My keyboard double inputted there. But yeah, you have to close the text box or the punch card frame perfectly there to be able to make it out of bounds and through that. Anyway, we're just gonna skip this Muffet boss here. Wrong warp out of the room. And now we have musical skip. And there it is. So now you may be wondering, why am I not going back down to get my menu? That's because we need to trigger this cutscene first. And now we could go down to get our menu. If we don't trigger that cutscene, we can't go back to this this floor when we have to. Yeah, Deathline. There's a lot of cool tricks here. But yeah, now we could go back down and do our menu recovery warps as normal. Again, safety save, because there's always a chance of soft locking on wrong warps, although it's low. It's a low chance of soft locking. It's definitely possible. And I don't want to risk it. Anyway, those are the... Oh, what's happening? There we go. That was weird. Those are our final menu recovery warps we have to do. And now we have core. Core is my favorite part though, and it's so fun. I'm not doing these wrong warps properly right now, but it's fine. We're just gonna make our way up here then. Core is very interesting. Especially the second half of Core. Gonna get on the right pixel here. Close out of that text because you can't wrong warp when other text is on the screen. So you have to close out of that text before wrong warping. Gonna wrong warp here. And then I'm gonna wrong warp here, take a safety save. Because we are entering the second half of Core, which is crazy. You'll just see in a bit. First, we gotta do these 3 wrong warps up to the puzzle. Overflow the puzzle so we can wrong warp out of the room with the cutscene, which I didn't do, so I'm just gonna enter back in the wrong warp. And now we have Snowy Core, which is crazy. You kind of just wrong warp all the way back to the beginning of Core. It's crazy. Anyway, we skip Metaton here now. And now, this is... There we go. That's Alphys elevator skip. And now we wait here, and then mash. Overflow this. Just like that. Wrong warp out. And that's Core. Now we have New Home. The first half of New Home is... By the first half, I mean like the first minute. It has a lot of stuff going on, but after that it's kind of just an auto-scroller for 3 minutes. Thought I soft locked there for a second. That would have been a bad soft lock, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway. Gonna get this first key here. And then we are gonna go into this room, wrong warp out, and then do something called Megalor skip. There's Megalor skip. That skips the encounter by punch carding and then going back into that room. I missed that wrong warp, which is kind of unfortunate. I missed a lot of wrong warps there. But anyway, yeah. Now that we have all that stuff done, there's not much more to New Home. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm trying to wrong warp out of this room. It's not going very well. I'm just gonna... okay, since there's not much going on, I'll explain the Asgore fight. The Asgore fight is incredibly hard. The burnt pan we got, it has 4 bars to attack with, and every bar to hit with is frame perfect. If you hit every single bar in the middle, which is known as a quad, you get double the damage on Asgore. So, what that means is, you need to get as many quads as possible to make the fight go faster. The best amount of turns you could get is 9 turns, which is known as a Tazgore. You need to get every single quad for 9 turns. 10 turn is hard as well. You could only miss 2. 11 you could only miss 4. Or no, I think you can miss 5 with an 11. With good damage rolls. But anyway, yeah, what I'm trying to say is this Asgore fight is very hard. Every turn wasted loses 10 seconds. I have an 11 turn in my PB, which means I hit 7 quads. And unlike most of the other stuff in this game, basically you can buffer everywhere. Like all this stuff in this run is frame perfect, but you can buffer everything else. There's like good visual cues and stuff for that. For quads, there are no visual cues, which makes it incredibly hard. You can't buffer or anything, so you just kind of have to wing it, hope for the best. So especially if you're on a very, very solid run, and you're going into Asgore, that's incredibly nerve-wracking. It's not long now. Just got 2 more of these cutscenes before entering Judgment Hall, where we have to skip Sans. Sans judging us. Because Sans' judgment is incredibly slow. Anyway, gonna save here just in case I miss it. I'm well on pace right now for a 56 if I get a good Asgore. So that's not a bad run. My PB is a 55, a mid 55, so there's a soft lock. For a second I thought we were gonna go the run soft lockless. Good thing we saved, or else we were going all the way back to New Home. These are the last 3 wrong warps of the run. I'll just say that. Okay, I'm not well on pace for 56 anymore, but it's fine. Still on 57 pace. Anyway, yeah, Asgore, not much to explain other than hit as many quads as you can. That's a yikes. I think I could still 12 turn if I hit a quad here. Ah, this is not a good Asgore. It's fine, I didn't practice quads today. That's a 13 turn. Not the worst Asgore you could ask for. But not the best either. Anyway. That's pretty much the run. Now all we have is Flowey, which is an 11-minute auto scroller. But first here, Flowey's gonna close our game. We need to reload it fast. So right now. And yeah, now the Flowey fight is... It's hard to die to. It's hard to die to. It's possible, though. I should move my cursor off screen. There you go. Finally done with all that. Now we actually could do the fight. Not much to talk about in this fight, other than just dodge the bullets as much as you can. So I guess I'll just be quiet and let you guys listen to the music and enjoy the fight for a bit. I'll explain some stuff though, there definitely is a little bit to explain. Okay, so this soul phase. Basically, this soul phase, what it does, you can't die on these soul phases. I'm just taking as much damage here. Basically, you just want a damage boost and make it to the help button as fast as possible. You'll get healed afterwards anyway, so it really doesn't matter how much damage you take there. Especially since it's impossible to die on those phases. Pretty soon coming up, one of these soul phases, the purple one, it's RNG which side the help button is on. So chat, help me decide which side I should go on. Help me pick where you think the help button is. Do you think it'll be on the left side, or do you think it'll be on the right side? Put your answer in the chat. Got one for right. I gotta admit, I am kinda part of right game. The entire Undertale community is divided by this one soul phase that's coming up. Anyway, yeah, right after this phase, just have to do some more, and then the purple phase. It doesn't really matter if I hit these fight buttons at the beginning of the fight, because it doesn't change anything later on. But why not hit them? They're there anyway. Anyway, I'm gonna go on the right side. I believe. Unfortunate, isn't it? Spawning on the left. You hate to see that one. This is the last soul phase. Just gonna go down right here. Count to 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then on the 8th one is when the help button will come out. And now, right when these turn green, it's gonna reload the game. And that will skip a cutscene. And that'll put us into the last phase of the fight. Luckily, in this phase, there are healing items, so you don't have to worry too much about dying. But it has been done on multiple occasions that people have died on the last phase of a Flowey fight. It's really sad when it happens. I'm glad to say it's never happened to me before. But it will one day. Most likely. Anyway, here on this last hit, we're gonna try to do a quick kill by timing it with this audio cue. I don't think that's, yeah, that was not gonna work. Anyway, that's the Flowey fight. And that'll pretty much wrap up the run, just about 1:30 of cutscenes. So I guess I'll do my conclusion, I guess you'd call it, here now. Thanks everybody for watching my Undertale run. If you enjoyed, if you're interested in running this game as well, make sure to check out the Discord. There are a lot of helpful and cool people there. Definitely check out Shay's tutorial, check out the guide as well. It's a fun game, trust me. You should definitely check it out sometime. And yeah, thank you to Speed Stuff for Charity having me run Undertale today. And I believe that's about all I have left to say. Once the screen turns white here, I'm gonna reload the game. Right about now. I'll close out of the other one so you can see this. And then once Flowey dies or gets hit, we'll reload the game. And then we could just kind of walk over here and time. Thank you all for having me. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. Thanks for having me once again, and I'll see you guys later.